Thank you. So we are very excited to have Raeeka Yaghmai with us. She is an award-winning dating blogger, Amazon bestseller author, and creator of the Conscious Life Method, a combination of relationship skills, attachment and trauma healing, neuro reprogramming, and somatic practices. She's mentored clients on how to navigate life and relationships, creating a fulfilling life that feels authentic and empowering to them. Her approachable and compassionate personality, along with her vast knowledge of healing and transformational coaching abilities, make her a highly sought after mentor. So please welcome Raeeka to start the webinar.
Oh, thank you so much, Mandana. I really appreciate that. It's humbling to listen about yourself. I just need to gather myself. Thank you. It's so nice to be here with all of you. I'm going to speaking English because we have English speaking guests as well. And so with that said, I am so honored for your time and just to be with you in this next hour or so. We might go a little over, but of course you can leave at any time that you need to. I'm here to talk about change. It could be change of job, a layoff, divorce, breakup, immigration, a loved one being sick, empty nesting, any sort of change and uncertainty that happens. And the purpose of this class is to help you create emotional safety within so that you can make life decisions from a place of wholeness, empowerment, rather than reactivity and fear. The teaching is going to be about 30-40 minutes, and then we're going to open up for live Q&A. My intention is that you would walk away. I mean, this is a big topic, right? And we're condensing it to a really, really short time. So my intention for you specifically for today is to just get an idea on where to start, on how to respond thoughtfully to life challenges rather than reacting, because it really doesn't help you make empowered decisions. And I will give you examples of what that looks like so it's more tangible. I want you to walk away with tools that are effectively helping you to manage and navigate those uncomfortable emotions, such as like anxiety or fear when they come up. And I want you to also, I'm going to teach you a couple somatic practices. And somatic means physical experience, like breathing, like rubbing, your skin. These are all somatic experiences. When we feel like butterfly in our stomach or our heart rate goes up, these are all somatic experiences. So I'm going to help you with some somatic practices to stop that spiral thinking and help you stay grounded and centered and, help you to, again, come from a place of empowerment and peace. So one thing that I really want to reassure you for today is that we are doing a recording only for the portion that I'm teaching. But as soon as the Q&A starts, we're going to stop the recording. It is so important for me to provide a space for you that is safe, that you can feel like you can share if you so choose to do that, and to feel that, that this is, or what I want to request from all of you is to really respect the confidentiality of this room, the sacredness of that, the trust that we put in each other for this time that we're together. And if you want to ask questions and you don't feel comfortable, you are more than welcome to turn your video off. You are more than welcome to even change your screen name. whatever you need to do to be comfortable, that is the most important thing. If you also want to chat, like write your questions directly to me anonymously, I can read them. Just make sure you're addressing it to me so I can see them on my end. And I will not, name your name, so that you feel comfortable. The whole point of these series is to support you, because we're all so busy in our lives that we barely sometimes get a chance to actually get proper support. So I really want you to feel like you are amongst, you're in a safe space, let's put it that way. Then what I do want to say is that I have made notes, so you're going to probably see me sometimes look down or do that. That's because I'm like, I want to make sure I remember everything that I want to cover today. So with that, in this current moment, as you're here, I would love to know, just by putting an M in the chat box, who in this current moment is experiencing change and uncertainty. Just type M for representing me. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So you're in the right place. And one thing that you're realizing is that you're not alone, right? Change and uncertainty is part of human condition. It's part of human experience. And this is not to degrade or lessen the uniqueness or the importance of the experience for you or your emotions about it. But it's good to know also that, this is just part of life experience, as scary as some of these changes might be. So let's understand what happens to us when we're facing change and uncertainty. So you can actually then be more aware of, okay, what are all these things that I'm experiencing within me? So we experience the world. You feel free to get your pen and paper if you want to take notes. But one thing that I forgot to ask you is make sure you're not recording on your phones or anything like that. Let's just really respect this space. So we experience the life and the world around us through 3 different channels within us. Somatically, like our physical experiences, emotionally, and through our mind, which is our thoughts, our belief system. These are the 3 ways that we're experiencing all the time. We might not always be aware of it, especially we might not be aware of it, aware of our emotions and aware of our body experiences, because our academic system and society in general is so focused on cognitive approach and thinking and thoughts, which is wonderful. It's very important. But when we are missing the other 2 parts, often we can get lost in stories that our mind starts telling us. And I'm going to explain that more. So somatically is what your body feels when you're triggered around change and uncertainty. Like you can feel frozen, or sleepy, or your breath gets high, or you can't breathe well, or your heart rate goes up, or your stomach feels like there are butterflies in it, it's turning. You can feel restlessness. Emotionally, you can feel feelings like anxiety, like fear, panic, stress, anger. And thoughts are what you believe about this event that's happening, right? That's threatening our safety. That's really what's happening on a very basic instinctual level, because we're built to be survivors at that animal instinct level. When change happens, it threatens our safety, because it's not our comfort zone anymore. So let's give an example. Let's say, a breakup happens or a divorce happens. So the belief that can be there can be fear of loneliness, how would I ever find someone? What is going to happen to me financially? What's going to happen to my life? Am I ever going to find another person? Gosh, I got to go out there and date again. It's really difficult. Nobody's going to be like this. But I mean, so you can see how it's like a chain, and then it just feeds on each other. And before we know it, we have like this mountain of beliefs that's really supporting what our perspective is. And the feelings could be fear, anxiety, anger, stress. Our body can start feeling stomach butterflies in the stomach. And all of this feels, or what it does to us, it's an unregulated nervous system. And the whole point is to learn how to regulate our nervous system in that moment, in that junction, when this experience is happening within us. Sometimes the experience is very all of a sudden, and sometimes the experience lasts for a while, like somebody who's going through a job change. Let's say somebody got laid off, or you're moving to a whole different country, or your child is moving to go to college and it's your first time being an empty nester. That feeling of anxiety can be with you for months and months and months at a time. And that can, at the end of it, that can cause you to not feel well, causes you to not feel healthy within, mentally and physically. So and it also, doesn't really allow you to enjoy life, because that amount of stress is just, it's a lot. And our life is constantly, especially nowadays, let's just, even if there is not much happening in our personal life, with the state of the world, the wars that are happening right now, that's really making us feel uncomfortable. The pandemic that happened, many people are losing jobs and getting laid off. So there's a lot going on just generally around us, that it can, shake our nervous system. So we need to understand a few things, and that is that our reactions, your reactions, are normal. Why? Because we're wired for survival. So it's very normal that you become reactive. The point is not to not be reactive, right? I don't want you to be like, oh, I got reactive, that something is wrong with me. No, absolutely, you're going to be reactive. Look, I'm nervous right now. I'm teaching. I've done this work like for 13 years, and you can maybe hear a little in my voice. That's my somatic experience. My voice is a little like, I'm trying to kind of connect with you and get settled in this. So like, this is a change, right? This is a minor example of a change right now for me. So that's very normal. The other part of it, and this is so important, is our childhood experiences. Our childhood experiences shape our beliefs and the intensity of our reaction towards change and uncertainty. Let's say if you grew up in a household where being laid off was really frowned upon and a sign of weakness, and like something is wrong with you that this is happening, like what's wrong with you? You should be better to not get, you should be so good so that you don't get laid off. That event could be a lot harder on you than somebody who grew up in a household where that kind of concept around that was more normalized. And like, that's okay. Life happens. Let's figure out how you can get back up again. So depending on how much in your childhood you were getting that kind of support around regulating your nervous system as a kid, that's going to change or affect, not change, but affect your perspective towards any kind of change that happens around you. So, and that is where the inner work is important, right? That is why healing is our past experiences that affect our relationship to ourselves and the world around us. And understanding our relationships, relation to ourselves, like understanding my beliefs, understanding my emotions. Often I ask people, how are you feeling? And they tell me how they think. I feel rejected. When rejection is not a feeling, rejection is actually a thought. It's an idea, right? Or I feel abused. That's not a feeling. That is a thought, right? So it's much harder for us in this society that we have been, raised to access those parts of us. And that's why inner work, healing, and really giving part of our energy to emotional evolving is so important for our well-being. I don't want to get into how, all that can cause all different diseases. That's for a whole different talk, but this is why this is really important. So, and I want to point something here, because, and this is not to say any of the other coaches are bad or wrong or, bad mouth anyone. But I want you to understand that there is a very important, intricate, delicate information that I want to give you. Most of us educated, smart, talented humans, grown-ups, those of you here who really, all of us who value this kind of work, we have also learned that if I change my mind, I change my world, right? And that is true. If you change your mind, if you change your perspective, you do change your life. That is 100% true. But in my 13 years of experience doing this work and working with many, many clients from all walks of life, I have learned that mindset work by itself is not going to work. And why? Because the underlying beliefs that we have carried all through our life from childhood, all through our life, through events that has happened when we didn't have support to regulate our nervous system when we were younger, and we didn't have the faculties to do that for ourselves, right? That is always playing in the background. That is not going to stop until the healing happens on an emotional and, most importantly, somatic level. Because our body is so smart. We have this thing called the vagus nerve. It is so smart, and it remembers events in the body. And if we can really tune in and feel that and regulate from that level, then the mindset is going to stick with you. That's what I really want to make sure, because often when, let's say, let me give an example of like breakup again. So let's say, somebody breakups or has a divorce. What is the immediate thing they want to do? The mindset is, that's okay. I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to, everything is fine. And they put themselves right out there to date, right? Well, guess what's going to happen? The same mistakes are going to happen again, because deep down, those beliefs, those emotions, that nervous system is going to act up the moment trigger happens again, right? So it's important to understand that level of change. So let's get to the tools and tips and skills that you can acquire and get started. to regulate your nervous system, manage uncomfortable emotions, and bringing feelings of safety, stability, inner peace to you, right? So if up until now you have any questions, by all means, post it in the chat so that we can get to it. In case you're like, oh, I will forget, so just go ahead and do that. And of course, we can open up later as well. But I just want to acknowledge that I am going through this really quickly. And there's a lot that I'm putting out there. So I'm more than happy to open it up for you and speak about it. So the first thing I want to teach you is, well, let's imagine, many of you, Kaveh, let's see, Julie, Mandana, Shadi, Pune, you all said that you are at the moment experiencing change and uncertainty. And maybe there are some of you that haven't put it in the chat box. So you have at some point experienced, right, some sort of change or that feeling of uncertainty. So just put yourself in that moment if you can. Just going to give you a moment to get there. Just remembering, the trigger that happened or something that maybe it's going to happen in the future. I often think about the changes that I need to face because at some point I'm going to lose my parents. That scares me so much. Okay. So if you're there, you put a Y in the chat, just like get a hang of like, are you guys ready? Okay, good. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for participating. It really gives me energy. I really appreciate you. Okay. The first thing I want you to do is to acknowledge your feelings. And I'm going to make it really simple. Feelings, in this case, can be sad, mad, fear, anxiety, nervousness, or stress. Let's call it stressed, right? So really simple. Anything else is going to be the beliefs, right? So mad, sad, anxiety, and fear. Let's stick with these four. I want you to recognize it and literally feel it and name it. Why? Our first instinct, because again, it scares our nervous system, it scares our survival, is to do what? When we feel fear, when we feel anxiety, what do we want to do? Push it away. We don't want to feel it. It feels uncomfortable. It can feel vulnerable. And for many, vulnerability has been introduced as weakness, which is actually not. It's our greatest strength to be able to be vulnerable empoweredly. And we want to just not either think about it, or we literally are like angry or upset with ourselves for feeling these feelings, right? So it's so important to actually name the feeling. What is the feeling? What am I feeling? Let me sit with it for a minute, right? This is something I want to teach you about feelings. When anxiety, fear, stress happens, anger, think of it as a part of you. And this is such a beautiful, fascinating work that Dr. Richard Schwartz has done called Parts Work. You can even get the book called There Are No Bad Parts. And it's all about how there's a whole family within us. We are not just made of one. Anybody who says we have one personality is like completely wrong. We have the anger part of us. We have the happy part of us. We have this, excited part of us. We have the intellectual part of us. We have all these different parts. So when that anger, anxiety shows up, just think of it as someone that is sitting next to you. Welcome it. Come here, sit next to me. It's okay. I got you. We're together. As opposed to pushing it away, because that feeling is going to persist in every way that it could to get your attention. And the extreme of it is when we get sick. Why is it that it's so much easier to catch a cold when we're stressed, right? Because our cortisol level goes up, inflammation comes up. I mean, it's like a whole process that physiologically happens in our body. So sit with it for a few minutes. Maybe put your right hand on your heart. I love doing the skin to skin, but right now I have this, so I can't actually do that. So just put your hand on your heart and rub it. Try it right now if you want. Just a feel. Welcome it. That feel, that emotion is trying to tell you something. Our emotions are always talking to us. Allow space around it. Yeah, it helps you process it. And I guarantee you the discomfort is going to pass because it's now feeling like, oh, right? It's like when a kid throws a tantrum, right? The more you're mad at it, and it's going to get worse, or the kid is going to get scared and internalize all of that, but it's not going to go away. So really welcome it. Then I want you to start processing your body. Now, this might be more difficult for some of you, and that's okay. It just takes practice, like playing the piano or your work that you do at your job, right? You get better and better at it the more you do it. Like riding a bicycle, typing, all of that takes practice. This is the same thing. The more you sit with your body, the more you can understand what's happening for you. Like I noticed my voice was getting a little kind of like a little bit of shake in it when I first started speaking, right? That was my nervous system telling me, they're here, you might be judged. Make sure you're not making mistakes, right? It's normal. We're human. We're all human. We have these feelings, but how do we deal with it? Right? So notice where in your body what are you feeling in your body right now as you think about the change or uncertainty? Maybe even put it in the chat box. Is your heart beating faster? Maybe your temperature is changing. Maybe your head is, busy. Is your breath changing? Are you shaking your leg? What's happening inside? Butterflies in the stomach. Yeah, that's very common, right? Heavy chest, heart faster, my feet are restless, can't breathe, tears. Yeah. Yeah. Love that. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. So let's sit with that as you're experiencing this. It's okay. I'm right here with you. You're not alone. You're not alone. Right? So just give that feeling a little bit of space. And by feeling, I mean the physical feeling. What is it trying to tell you? What does it want? Right? Can you, short breathing, okay. Can you look at this part of you, the butterflies in the stomach? Maybe put your hand on your stomach. If your breath is not coming up, maybe just, rub your chest. Can you be with it from a place of compassion? If it was your child, what would you have done? Maybe hold the child, hug them, comfort them, put a blanket around them, make them feel warm, right? Caress them. Can you have compassion for this part of you? It makes a huge difference when we do that, when we are really acknowledging these feelings, right? I'm curious to see, as you're giving space around this physical feeling and the emotions, what are some changes that you might be feeling? You might need more time. There's no wrong or right? We all have our individual experiences, and it's not a quick fix. It's not a button, right? So can we be kind to ourselves? Have grace on ourselves. That's processing feelings. That's processing physical sensations. If any of you is feeling a bit of a difference in your physical experience, I would love for you to share, just so we have examples of what can happen. And if that's not happening, no worries. I know for me, my breath started going down. Deeper breath for you too, Julie. Okay. Yeah, my breath started opening, especially when I shared with you how I was feeling. It just made me normalize it for me. It wasn't like the big pink elephant in the room that I wasn't talking about. I felt like that was a way of connecting. So for me, it regulated my nervous system. All right. So I want to give you, to wrap this up, give you a few somatic experiences. Thank you. Throat feels open. Okay, great, Julie. So I'm going to leave you with a few somatic exercises so that you actually have something tangible to do. The first one is called box breathing. So you inhale for 4, then hold for 4, exhale for 4, stop for 4, hold for 4, inhale for 4. So it's inhale, stop, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Stop, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Stop, 2, 3. Right? You just keep doing this. Another one that you can do, if in the moment you really feel like you're spinning, start naming the objects in the room. Right? Or if you're outside, look at, like anything that's moving, like a branch of tree, right? Or somebody who's walking, really watch their steps, right? If you're by the water, watch the water moving, like really hone into it. That's going to bring you back to the present moment, because what happens when we are anxious or have fear, and really it comes down to anxiety and fear at the end of it. Even underneath anger, fear is what's present. And when that happens, we disconnect from our body. We want to go have a solution, but the solution is all in here, right? That's when we make empowered decisions. So this exercise, the breathing, the naming objects, looking at things that are moving in the moment, noticing details. Let's say you're by a fireplace, notice the details, hear the sounds. It's going to bring you back to the present moment. And last but not least, and this is my favorite thing, because you can do it anywhere at any time, is our feet. Do we think about our feet? Not often. Our feet are our grounding, instruments. Just right now, if you put your feet on the ground, and that was actually one of the things I was doing as I was talking at the beginning, I was wiggling my toes. I'm here. I'm here. Be here, Raeeka. Be here. If you just wiggle your toes, sense what your feet are feeling. Maybe it's your socks, maybe it's the floor, maybe it's the shoes. What is it feeling? It brings you back to this present moment so that, we're often anticipating the future, and all the fear is really what's going to happen? What's going to happen if I divorce? What's going to happen if I lose my job? What's going to happen when my kid leaves? Right? But what's going to happen if I move? Right? But all of the future that we're so worried about, it's this present moment that we were worried about 2 weeks ago, a month ago, 3 years ago. And we're safe. We're here. This doesn't mean you're not going to take action. This means you're going to take empowered action. Right? So lean into that present moment. Right? And walking, especially in nature, water, by the beach, park, beach. You don't have any of that? No problem. Go walk around the block. Just walking. Feel your feet when you're walking. All right. So I would like to wrap up here. If you if is that okay to wrap up here, Mandana Jun?
Sure. Thank
Right.
you, Raeeka ji.
Yeah, you're
That was
welcome.
great.
Yeah.
So,
So we should stop the recording right now if
okay.